Hey, and welcome to another Blender video. This video is going to be about the spin tool. So, the spin tool is something that is only available when you are in edit mode. So if I were to grab this cube and jump into edit mode, you're going to find a new toolbar pops up over here on the left. There's my toolbar. Now if I click on this spin tool here, it looks like the pie shape. I'm going to get a couple of handles. And I'm going to zoom in here so you can see very closely what's happening. This is going to rotate around the z-axis. If I grab one of these handles and start spinning, I'm not just rotating my cube, that's different. I'm creating individual vertices and faces and edges, and many of them in fact, because it's making a copy of every single vertice in that cube. If I open up my spin options down here, I have spun 84.7 degrees and I have 12 steps or 12 copies of what I was spinning. If I shrink that number back down, it starts to be a little bit more noticeable about what's going on here. And that would not be the most useful way to use the spin tool. Because the other thing you might have noticed is it's spinning right around the center of the object. And that's because that's where my 3D cursor is at the moment. But you also have, let me actually put it up to about 4. You also have controls over the center point here. And so if I slide that center point along the x-axis, you can see all of my copies are rotating around that center point. And if I increase the angle, the copies are going to spread out more and more. Alright, now that there is of limited usefulness. It's kind of like a circular array or a polar array in some other programs. I'm going to make lots of copies of something while in edit mode. There are other things you can do with this command though. So what I'm going to do is just undo what I just did. And instead of selecting the entire cube this time, I am going to select a single face. So I'm going to go into face select mode, grab, whoa, don't know what just happened there. I think I slipped with the mouse. Grab this top face. And now I'm not going to spin around the z-axis because it's going to spin right here in place. So I'm going to choose a different axis. Your axis is available up here. You got X, Y, Z. So if I choose Y, you'll notice now I get a green axis, a green widget. And if I grab that plus sign and move with it, we're rotating again with the 3D cursor as the center point. If we wanted to change that center point, we could move our center, maybe in this case, up in the Z direction to spread those out a little bit more. Let me undo that. Let's see what would happen if we went in the X direction. See how that's going to go? Just going to grab that symbol. Okay. That's all well and good, but we can do better. What if we were to move the center point first? So if, not the center point, the 3D cursor, and that's where the center is going to be. What if I put my 3D cursor, say, here? And then I use the spin tool. And I don't see many options there with the X, the way I set that up. So let's go to Y. Now look, now we're getting somewhere. You can actually make useful shapes this way. Okay, one more thing to look at while doing this style of spin is there is also a use duplicates option over here. And if you click that, you're not going to get a mesh that stretches all the way back to the beginning. You're going to get individual copies of whatever it was you were spinning. So if I click it now, remember I started with a face. Now I've got 12 individual faces. There are times when that could be useful. Let's go look at another scenario. I'm going to click to set that and undo it. And I'm going to select everything here. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to go into vertex select mode. And I'm going to shift select one of these vertices. And I'm going to do that just before pressing X and deleting all the other vertices. So I'm left with one single vertex. And from there, I'm going to model an outline of a shape that I will then revolve around some center point. So I would like that vertex to be back at the world origin here, 0, 0. That way I have a known starting point. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to switch to my selection tool here. I'm going to press Shift S, and I'm going to snap my cursor to the world origin. Then I'm going to select this vertex, Shift S again, and I'm going to snap my selection to my cursor. Now I'm on the 0, 0. I'm going to go to a front view, pan it up so it's more center of the screen, and I'm just going to press E and pull out another vertex and place it somewhere. And then I'm going to press E, and I'm going to do the same all the way around, and I'm going to create a shape. I don't really have a shape in mind yet. I'm forming an idea as I go. Maybe I'll do like this, kind of an outline shell, and watch what I end up with. I'm even going to stop just shy of hitting that Z-axis line again. Now I'm going to select all of my vertices, and you can see the shape I've created. Now I'm going to use the spin tool, and I'm going to spin it around the Z-axis. And watch what happens. In fact, yeah, let me make sure I'm on the Z-axis. And I'm just going to click one of these widgets, and I'm going to click it once and let it go. I'm not going to drag it this time. If you do that, it automatically gives you 360 degrees. You can see it over here in the options. And auto merge becomes very important because at 360, you end up with two sets of vertices along this edge, your starting and your ending vertices. But take a look at what I got. I took that outline I had, go back into wireframe here, and it has revolved it 360 degrees to create a complete shape. If I wanted this shape to be smoother, I could just increase the number of steps. And there's a reason I didn't go back to the Z, because I knew at the end I'd have this circle of vertices here, and I could just merge those at the center. So this is just one step in the modeling process, and you don't have to do everything in the spin tool. You can combine that with every other skill you know. So I'm just going to zoom in here, and I'm going to circle select those vertices and press M and merge at center. And I've closed up the bottom of this bowl shape. And there you go, the spin tool.